Let's say another good morning to you, 99.3 Nigeria Info. If you are just joining us, welcome to the Morning Crossfire. My name is Wemimo Adewuni. Of course, we've been doing this since 5 a.m. today. Okay, so let me get something too loud. Okay. There you go. It's much better.
Still too loud.
Still too
It's
loud.
going to break my eardrums.
Oh dear. Is that better?
Yeah, it's better now. Morning, everybody. My name is Jimi Disu.
All right. Welcome to the show, guys. We're doing this with you live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can go there and watch right now. Just do a quick search for Nigeria Info 99.3 and you'll see the live stream. You can also join us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Use the hashtag Nigeria Info MCF. Nigeria as a country, not Nigerian. No. Nigeria Info MCF. I need to keep saying that over and over again.
You need to keep saying that, yes.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. Let's start with this story in the Punch newspaper. Hashtag EndSARS. UK lawmakers slam Buhari regime, demand sanctions. I played a clip of that story during the news this morning, a bit of that debate. And they were saying specifically not a sanction on the country, but on those who promoted the human rights abuses.
See, I believe the time has come for us as a country, as a nation, and indeed as a continent and as a race to take our fate into our own hands. This is because what we need to understand about most of the Western countries especially is that they have one agenda and one agenda only, and that is their interests. Okay? Let me state clearly that there is enough reason, for us to want to get intervention, as it were. No, let me trace that back. There are enough things that we need to correct, including the issues raised by EndSARS. I have no doubts about it. I'm not happy about the crisis that took place. But I'm looking about the principle of always going to report our own country to other countries. First thing you ask is, what is the interest of these other countries that you go and report to? Some of us who, I remember way back in 75, when Muritala died, I remember the issues that cropped up and those we fought against. In fact, I was on the front page of the Nigerian Observer then, way back then, because of interests. Ask anybody my age and who about the Civil War and how various countries intervened. Now, I'm not, again, let me state clearly that the issues that are raised in the British Parliament are, there's every reason to raise them. But also for you to remember that there are no sanctions that will not affect you as a country eventually. Eventually. Where am I going? Where I'm going is I particularly am not happy about the idea of running to one country or the other when there's crisis in your country. We must devise a mechanism, where we can resolve our own issues in any which way. Because, look, these countries, for example, will keep talking about democracy. Is there democracy in Saudi Arabia?
But however, like you said, there are issues that we have in Nigeria, and currently we don't have that structure where you can say, let's hold the government in its entirety accountable for what it does. So what we do mostly is, like some people have also reported the case to the International Criminal Court. Some have gone to the British Parliament, and they're saying sanctions on specific individuals who were involved on the human rights abuses. You don't think that's fair enough?
No. It's fair. I mean, it's a matter of choice, but I wouldn't do it because I'm always cognizant of the fact that these people I'm going to report to, what is their interest?
So what would you rather that Nigerians have done?
Nigerians have to be patient to develop resistance to these things. It's not going to be an event. And if you keep doing the same thing you've been doing for 30 years, running to America, running to the UK, look at the way America solved its own problems. They didn't run to anybody. We have to get to the grind and get things going. And I repeat, it's not going to be an event, it's going to be a marathon, but we must be prepared to go through it. What I'm just saying, what I'm just saying in all sincerity is, I'm not saying that the issues raised are no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that some of these countries that you keep running to, their interest in your problem is not the same as your own interest.
The fear of many Nigerians, if I would echo some of those, would be that, so if we want to develop these structures, we need certainly the legislatures to do it. Are they sincere enough to want to do it?
Which legislature?
And our Nigerian
Didn't you vote them
Senate.
in? You voted them in?
Well, people have argued with me that they didn't vote them in. That's what I asked them. Didn't you vote them in? They say no, they got there themselves.
No. See, democracy is about the majority. If the majority of the people say this is what they want, that's what they want. What I am saying...
Is that also true for Nigeria?
What I am saying is like a husband and wife who keep going to the neighbor who is interested in the man's wife for settlement. Some of these countries, the interest they have is different from yours. We know how some of them have stifled development of African countries and developing countries. We know we are quite aware of the role that they had played. One day, those that enslaved us in the first instance.
But
put us on ships, padlocked our mouths, and took our people to Jamaica. You must see. I'm talking from. I'm not. You can raise issues and so on, but your destiny doesn't lie in going from one country to the other. Your destiny doesn't lie there. Let us face these people here.
If I would echo some of these thoughts, because I've had this conversation from 5, the ideas would be if we had, for instance, the UK sanction some of these people and say, one of the callers said, stop them from coming for medical tourism. Like if they're unable to travel at their own will, they are forced to stay here and fix their issues.
They won't fix an issue. They'll go to Dubai. They'll go to China.
There are other places.
There are other places. So that's not the way to go.
So how do we do? What do we do?
I'm not an activist.
Hey, and you sounded like one.
but what I'm saying is the problem is there.
It is.
But you need to go to the right place for the solution. That's what I'm saying.
The legislature.
Now I'm not. Now also, let me quickly say I'm not chiding Western countries. I like them. I like them in the sense that they're level-headed enough to know where their interest lies. Okay, where does our own interest lie as a people?
Maybe because we like one of the callers again said, we don't have the structure enough to be able to say we are the people, the country that this is what we want.
I'm going to be very blunt here. We are mentally lazy. We always like other people to come and fix our problems, and then if we don't do, we say we run to God. We need to sit back and think.
I think a word is enough.
We need to sit. We are mentally lazy and we want things to happen. And then religion has also played its part where you say, oh, God will do it, God will do it.
It is well.
Why must you always run to other people when you have a problem?
I hear you. I hear what you've not said, in fact. Let's go on to talk about...
you understand?
I understand. I fully understand. Let's talk about someone who would be... standing in prison for someone who ran away from jumped bail. 2 billion naira fraud. Ndume remanded as Maynard jumps bail and flees. This happens to everyday Nigerians. Someone wants to take bail, maybe of these microfinance loans, and tells you, come and stand for me or something. And then you do, and then he disappears. Now, this is on a grand scale, 2 billion naira.
Now, first of all, let me explain something. When you stand bail, surety, or guarantor for somebody, you had better know what you're doing.
Right.
And nobody, I repeat, nobody can help you out of that situation unless you're able to fix the judicial system as it concerns you. Because the implication of standing bail or whatever, and I wish one of our lawyers would also call in, is that if this person disappears, either I produce him or I go in for it himself.
You take me in his place.
And that is exactly what has happened to Ndume. At that time, I don't think Ndume believed that Maina would jump bail. You know, there's always the belief that Shebi is Philip, he won't jump bail. No, it doesn't. I don't stand bail for anybody. Maybe, God forbid, my kids or something like that, but then I know it's a sacrifice. So when you stand bail, it's a sacrifice. Some northern group have put up an argument. They said that, okay, the other guy that stood bail, what's his name, Senator Abaribe, stood bail for Kano, and that he's walking free. That is a court-by-court basis. It's not. People, please understand that it has nothing to do with government. So calling on Buhari, I almost said Babangida. I was still thinking of the last issue. So I was thinking of the last issue in relation to the fact that when our economy was in whatever, we ran to the IMF and World Bank, Western countries, and you can see where it landed us. So back to this one. So you can't call on Buhari to come and, to interfere. No, the process is very, very clear. And unless this gentleman produces Maina,
you'll have to just...
He will have to. My advice to you is think twice before you either stand bail or surety or guarantor for anybody.
In fact, before you sign anything, the way people throw their signatures around, it's a bit worrisome. Every little thing you signed,
I'm one of them. It has happened to me. When you go, for example, when you want to take a bank loan, I had a funny experience with the bank, but I lived at one of Nigeria's leading banks. When you want to take a bank loan, an insurance policy, no matter, even tenancy agreement, make sure that you read. And the best thing to do is to take legal advice. Yeah. But the problem is we have this attitude of not wanting to pay for expertise. Wemimo, do you know any lawyer that can help me?
I have plenty of them. They send me the document. Please help me look for a lawyer to go through. And you know what's happened? Young lawyers, it's amazing. They've maximized technology. They now have like a lawyer's hub where you can pay like a 5,000 naira monthly and they cover your legal stuff. You don't want to pay anything?
We don't want to pay anything.
Was it free? Was their schooling
it's
free?
It's part of that thinking that makes us think that our salvation lies in the Western world.
Yeah, right.
We don't want to do things by ourselves. We don't want to think. We don't want to do things in the proper manner. I feel sad for Undumi.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Because his case is the case of somebody who wants to be set on fire and produce a jerrycan of 5-liter petrol.
Ta-da! I'm going on to Vanguard. Flight operations in Nigeria, accident waiting to happen, says National Assembly. 650 billion naira bailout for airlines. Decries customs non-execution of executive order waiving taxes on aircraft part. When I read this story earlier this morning, I said, hey. I mean, we shouldn't take this lightly. And they're saying that airlines are managing maintenance of the aircraft. They're not doing the full maintenance. And we might just have a disaster waiting to happen.
I'm sure my friend I have a pilot friend who I'm sure would have sent me a message now. The truth is, our aviation sector had been comatose for so long. What you have is cosmetic. Even the private jets, to the best of my knowledge, there's some compromise in their maintenance, and it's part of the Nigerian attitude. I tell you this, to get me on a plane within this country, you'd have to put a gun to my head.
Really?
Yes, I'm telling you. That's why I can't remember the last time I went to Abuja. My heart to be in my mouth. Because I know I have friends in the aviation industry.
And they've told you.
If they tell you the story that we have, the story of the aviation industry, you won't even go anywhere near an airport. But guess what? Isn't that being stupid?
Because they fly.
Because they fly, and it can drop on your. It can drop on your head.
But that's really pathetic.
But in this particular instance, what they are actually looking for is they're looking for a 50 billion bailout for airlines.
Yeah.
And the National Assembly is helping them. Where is the bailout for education? Where is the bailout for health? But because this affects the upper rung of society, you're now looking for a 50 billion bailout, and the NAS seems to be encouraging them to do so. I don't have a problem with that. But you should do so likewise for education. You should do so likewise for health. You should do so likewise for technology to build up the country.
I agree. But to speak fairly, though, the Vice President had touted, they've had talks about bailout for education, for private sector, including schools. I've done 2 reports on that. I mean, during COVID-19, we've not seen the bailout. The palliatives are not there yet. The schools have resumed. They've not gotten anything.
I remember when we were talking about Vision 2020. It looked as if it was far away. That Vision 2020 report is rusting away now, is expired.
It has.
2021. So you have all the rhetoric in the world, but I can tell you this will be fast-tracked.
Right, because they need to fly.
And they're very interested in it. Again, I plead with my people, we need to tackle these monsters that we have, some of the monsters that we need to tackle them head on in a very systematic and non-violent manner.
Yeah.
And don't run anywhere for any assistance. Nobody
fix it.
Assistance. Nobody offers assistance without having an agenda.
I hear you. You know,
and some of the people you run to are those who actually caused it in the very first instance. So that's where I'm coming from. That's referring again to my first story. people should sit back and imagine what our forefathers had suffered. Even in recent times, what we have suffered in the hands of some of these
human beings.
Yeah.
All right. The Vanguard newspaper also has a story. Oh, I want to say my dear JP Clark, but
yeah.
I mean, it's such a. I'm remembering.
Was he a lecturer?
No, he wasn't. But I read his book.
His wife was my lecturer.
Oh, tribute for JP Clark holds this evening. Lagos GCUOBA.
Government College Ugeli.
They're holding tributes for him today.
It's a pity that an icon like JP Clark, passes almost unnoticed.
And it's so silently.
And was so though he advocated, he wanted a nice, quiet burial and to be done. But even then, the people like JP Clark were not well celebrated. It wasn't well celebrated. And that's because we continue to we tie achievements to money.
Right.
It's always to money, to material things. How many mansions does he have? And in 90% of the cases, these so-called successful people with this money, they have questions to answer.
I agree.
But our society allows them to get away with it. I mean, you have a poet like J.P. Clark, well respected all over the world, and he was an emeritus professor. He's a poet and playwright, and it's sad that we just have some relaxed attitude. I can imagine some people saying, who is he?
And what this unfortunately does is it then affect the mindset of the younger ones to think, if you're an educationist or you're a writer, no one knows you, no one needs you.
That is what has brought us to Yahoo.
Absolutely.
I keep saying, I remember as a kid, we would be staring at Zeke and saying to ourselves, one day I wish I could be like this man. Today, what do you find, even in songs, somebody will say, the God or $10, I want to be $100, I want to be Dangote. The emphasis is always on money. What kind of society are we building? And day in, day, some of the problems that we are complaining about, even this Lekki shooting and all these things, are the result of the kind of mindset that we have. Those who are ruling us are not any different from we, the other people.
Yeah.
We all have the wrong mindsets.
Absolutely. I mean, they came from the people, so...
They came from the people. We all have the wrong mindset. Well, J.P. Clark, may his soul rest in peace. I hope that I would see a country, before I depart, no, not immediately, I hope that I will see a country one day that places a premium on what you call core values. Of any society.
Integrity,
hard work.
Justice.
We don't want to do. We always have a sense of entitlement to other people's things.
Yeah, I put up a post on my Twitter handle yesterday, just before I slept, and asked, what are those values that you think you have that are very good? Sometimes we need to remind people the values are very important.
No, the kind of values you have now is that anything goes. Anything goes as long as you can achieve. And that started from the days of that one gentleman I just don't want to mention to spoil my morning. Since then, we have not survived. It is true.
I know.
A man wakes up one day and just devalues the currency of a country.
Yeah.
Because some people in Europe and America told you that's the best thing to do. Now that we are almost 400 plus to 1, you're still telling us our currency is.
You mean by CBN rates, right? Because outside CBN is about 500.
I don't go by CBN rates. I'm a street boy.
That's CBN rate. Zero cancel. All right, let's go on.
You are talking CBN rates. Go to the bank and say you want to buy whatever. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's move on to the Nation newspaper. And I'm afraid that PTF is saying that returning travelers are presenting fake test results. Two things I fear here is either the people doing the test for them are giving them fake results or they're buying results. And I mean...
Let me solve that problem for you.
Please.
The right word to use would be they're fixing the results. And in Nigeria, anything goes.
Yeah.
Let me give you a very simple example. Try to, when the border is open, try to cross the border between Lagos and Benin Republic through the normal route. Okay, and see what you will go through. Then park your car at the Nigerian side and take a taxi or car hire and tell the taxi, I'm going to Cotonou Market, wherever it is. In less than 25 minutes, you'll be there. Okay? Nigeria is structured in such a way that it is only illegal things that thrive and produce results. Go to the passport office. You can't go to the general hospital and not know a doctor.
Yeah.
You can't even have a case and not. You'll be saying, maybe I should I use Libros or should I use GT? But then GT is Yoruba, the judge is Yoruba, so that might help. These are the kind of things you think of.
Absolutely.
You can't get anything done legal, and I don't know why.
Well, the values we talked about.
We are the ones who have produced, back again to the very first issue, all these crises we're having with soldiers treating, and we are the people that have started all this from our thinking.
Was it our thinking or was it forced on us? I mean, that's the way I appraise the situation. I think that military rule really thwarted the thinking of Nigerians to think, oh, we can't demand stuff. We can't look people in the eye and demand our rights.
It wasn't just military rule, because, I mean, there was military rule during Gawan. Yeah. Okay, a complete fine gentleman who, at the end of his tenure, at the height when Nigeria was making loads of money, at the end of his tenure, he developed this country. I don't understand. We don't have time to start naming. And he prosecuted a war. And at the end of the tenure, he didn't even have a house to call his own. Which of his successors can you say was like him? Apart from Muritala, who died within 6 months. Which of his successors can you boldly say? Especially one of them.
I always imagine, if we didn't have those years of military rule, what would things have been like? Would things be different, really?
Well, again, see, we are the ones who produce military rule, aided by the same people that we are going to beg now. Who taught soldiers how to carry out coups? Wasn't it soldiers that went to Sandals? You need to know your history before you join debates in things like this. I'm talking to people outside. I'm not talking about to you. You need to know your history and know your origins. At a time when the likes of Awolowo and so on and so forth they were struggling for independence, who told a particular gentleman to tell his people to go join the army? Who taught them how to? Was it in the Defense Academy that they were taught how to plan coups, or in Sandhurst? Nigerians need to think. You need to know the history of your country. You need to know where you are coming from before you then make an opinion, give an opinion on some of these things.
I hear you. Let's go on to look at this story from the Nation newspaper. Embrace mediation. Lagos AG director tell Lagosians CMC resolved 516 cases in October. This is referring to the Citizens Mediation Center. So maybe you don't take all cases to court.
Yes, I was.
And that mediation center is at Igboshere.
Oh, there's so many.
There's one.
There's one at Sabo. There are two in Surulere. I've recommended, and I think it's now headed by my good Aburo Biola Oseni, and she has urged residents of Lagos to embrace. Don't allow lawyers run you riot. Okay, there's things that can easily be resolved. Landlord-tenant issue.
I think I should bring him on the Morning Crossfire so we can enlighten people about.
This is the Attorney General. Biola is a man.
Yeah.
She's not a man. In fact, we call her nickname is Babe amongst her family. This is my very good party man, Onigbanjo. This is whatever. So yes, it will be good so that you can resolve so many cases without going. Because even look at elections. Every time you go to election tribunals, from election you go to appeal court, from appeal court you go to Supreme Court, for things that, even in the interest of your people and to reduce tension, you can say, look, I concede victory. That's why, again, I need to apologize to Jonathan that way back then I thought what he did was not a big deal. Now I know better. I now know that if Jonathan had not considered that election, only God knows where we would be now. So I made light out of it. Okay, that he didn't have a choice, but now I know better.
He did have a choice.
I know better. He put his country before. He said no, he doesn't want anybody to lose any lives. He's lost the election and that's it. He's going his own way.
Yeah.
I wish we had more people like that.
Right.
In all honesty, I wish we had more people like that. So if you have any disputes or whatever, there are so many of them. If you are not sure which one to go, Google it.
Right, Google is your friend.
Google
you have a phone with internet, just do a quick search. But I'll see if we can bring this up on the Morning Crossfire so we can help you understand how the mediation process works and you can, look at it when you have issues. There's a commentary here on the Nation newspaper, the editorial, The Privileged 3. The symptom of the waiver. reportedly granted Dangote Cement and Co. I took a taxi, and while the guy was driving, he talked about how you see how good this road is. That's the Oshodi Apapa Expressway that's been fixed. It's been fixed. They're doing it well because sister, you don't know it's Dangote that's fixing it.
It's not doing it free.
It's not exactly. So he will not be paying tax.
No,
and his allusion was to say, let's give more people tax waivers so they can fix the roads.
Access Bank did an equally good job in Oniru here. That's no big deal. The editorial here is talking about the privileges given to him, to Dangote Company and a few other companies, whilst the borders are shut. Okay, so we don't have time, so let me quickly read. It says, but advantages aside, if the big players could earn concessions to land export, the chances are the same pools that make such preferences possible, nay urgent, also hold true for the general trading mass. So if it is important, if you think it's important enough to give Dangote a waiver, people with small businesses also have that same level of importance. The volume is just what we're looking at. Open up the borders. And besides, what I hear, I don't know. I hear that the borders in the north are not. They're not closed.
I've had a conversation around that, but they keep denying it.
What is good for the goose is good for the gander. And the nation here says it is simply bad optics, turning a general trading right into privilege for a few. Beyond optics is simply not fair. From market competition is not even good for the beneficiaries, for they get demonized for doing honest and legitimate work.
Some people are challenging you to a conversation on these going to the West. I see you all. I'll reply to you in a minute. They all want to challenge the Disu. I completely disagree. I totally disagree. I absolutely disagree. I disagree.
I'm happy. All I've done is give my own opinion. Give yours. I'm not going to be debating with anybody on this issue.
Yeah, we need to go now. But we thank you all for joining the Dailies today. Right now, at 8 o'clock, we're talking about asylum. The highest number of people seeking asylum in Canada are Nigerians. I want you guys to tell me why. Where are you going to? You don't say don't go to the West. So where are you guys going to?
You know, when you said asylum, I thought you were talking about the North House. I didn't.
Guys, we're back with you again after the break. Join us again. We'll be live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can watch us live from the studio one more time. Jimi, Disu, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
All right. I am Wemimo Adewuni. I'm back with you again in a moment.
Everybody talks. But we keep you informed 24/7.
Today on